October 25th, 1944, 0630 hours, Philippine Sea, east of Cape Engano. The flight deck of Zuikaku rolls gently beneath the feet of her crew. 4 years of war have weathered her gray paint, scarred her hull with hasty repairs from Kure and Singapore. Admiral Ozawa stands on the bridge, watching the horizon lighten from black to bruised purple. His flagship, the last Pearl Harbor carrier, still afloat. Behind him, 3 other carriers steam in formation: Zuiho, Chitose, Chiyoda. Between them, they carry just 108 aircraft. Ozawa knows the number by heart. He's done the math repeatedly through the sleepless night. The Americans have over 1,000. His staff officers maintain their positions, faces carefully neutral. No one speaks the truth aloud. They are bait. Decoys, sent north to pull Admiral Halsey's fast carriers away from Leyte Gulf, where the real battle will be decided. Vice Admiral Takeo Kurita's battleships need time, need the Americans looking the wrong direction. A communications officer approaches with the morning reports. Ozawa reads them without expression. The heavy units, Issei and Hyuga, hybrid battleship carriers with their aft turrets removed, report ready. The cruisers Oyodo, Tama, and the light forces form the screen. Enough ships to look threatening, enough to make Halsey bite. Zuikaku's air officer reports the dawn searches prepared. 18 aircraft, mostly reconnaissance types. They're saving what little strike capability remains. Not that it matters. This isn't about attacking. This is about being seen, being hunted, being killed while others escape. Ozawa touches the bridge railing. Zuikaku deserves better than this. She was born victorious, September 25th, 1941, commissioned at Kobe just months before the Empire changed the world. The newest, most modern carrier Japan possessed, part of the elite Carrier Division 5 alongside her sisters Shokaku, both built to eclipse anything America fielded. November 26th, 1941. Vice Admiral Nagumo's Kido Butai departed Hitokapu Bay, 6 carriers strong: Akadi, Kaga, Hiryu, Soryu, Shokaku, Zuikaku. The spear point of Japanese naval aviation. Zuikaku was the youngest, her aircrew less experienced than the veterans aboard the older carriers. They gave her land targets at Pearl Harbor. December 7th, 1941. Her Arichi dive bombers screamed down on Wheeler and Hickam airfields while torpedo bombers from her sister ships gutted Battleship Row. The operation succeeded beyond imagining. America's battleships broken in the mud, the Pacific laid open. Ozawa remembers the victory celebrations at Hiroshima Bay, the entire nation intoxicated with success. The carriers that struck Pearl Harbor became legend, untouchable. Now, only Zuikaku remains. Akagi, Kaga, Hiryu, Soryu, all 4 lost at Midway, burned and sunk in a single catastrophic day. Shokaku, torn apart by 3 submarine torpedoes during the Philippine Sea battle just 4 months ago. Ozawa had watched his friend, Admiral Hara's carrier, roll over, taking 1,272 men down with her. The Americans called that slaughter the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot. 300 Japanese aircraft lost in a day, not just planes. Irreplaceable pilots, men who'd flown since China, since Pearl Harbor, the veterans who knew carrier warfare in their bones. Gone. The plan came from Combined Fleet Headquarters, desperate, intricate, depending on perfect timing and American cooperation. Vice Admiral Kurita would take the heavy surface units, Yamato, Musashi, the battleship force, through San Bernardino Strait and into Leyte Gulf. Simultaneously, Vice Admiral Nishimura would approach through Surigao Strait from the south. The Americans would surely detect them, surely concentrate forces to stop them. That's where Ozawa comes in. Take the carriers north, make noise, get spotted. Draw off Halsey's fast carriers while the battleships smash the invasion fleet at Leyte. It's called Operation Sho-Go 1. Victory Operation. Though Ozawa finds little about his role that resembles victory. His chief of staff, Captain Omae, joins him on the bridge wing. They've served together since the Philippine Sea. Good officers, both survivors of too many lost battles. The radio is ready to increase transmissions, Omae says quietly. On your order. Deliberate. Obvious. Making sure American codebreakers hear Zuikaku's distinctive call sign. A flare shot into the darkness. Here we are. Come kill us. Not yet, Ozawa says. Let Kurita get further south first. Let the timing work. If it works. If Halsey takes the bait. If the battleships break through. If. Below on the hangar deck, maintenance crews work on the pitiful air group. 29 Zeros, 13 Yokosuka D-4Y Judy dive bombers, 4 torpedo planes, the rest reconnaissance types. Zuikaku once carried 75 aircraft. Now, she's hollow, a shell of her former strength. 0820 hours. The radio room reports American reconnaissance aircraft, distant but closing. PBM Marines, flying boats from the Philippines. They've found the northern force. Ozawa feels something release in his chest, the first step. Now it begins. He tells Omae, order formation to prepare for air attack. The orders flow down. On Zuikaku's flight deck, Zeros scramble for launch positions. The crews move with practiced efficiency despite exhaustion. They've done this 100 times. Most launches end with planes not returning. The crews don't speak about it. They simply work. 11:45 hours. The first American strike appears on radar. Big formation. Perhaps 40 aircraft, maybe more. Carrier planes. Grumman Hellcats, Curtiss Hill Divers, Grumman Avengers. They come from Task Force 38 exactly as planned. Halsey has bitten. The greatest carrier Admiral America possesses, legendary for aggression, has turned his entire force north, away from Leyte Gulf, away from Kurita's battleships. The mission is working. All that remains is surviving long enough to keep Halsey committed. The Zeros meet the American strike 30 kilometers out. Radio chatter fills the airwaves. Staccato reports in Japanese, young voices calling positions, warnings, kills, desperation. The Americans push through. They always do. Too many aircraft, too much experience. Japan's veteran pilots are dead. The replacements barely know formation flying. First bombs fall at 13:05 hours. Near misses bracket Chitose and Chiyoda. Water columns rise higher than the carrier's masts. The formation begins evasive maneuvers, weaving and turning. Anti-aircraft batteries opening up in sheets of fire. A bomb finds Chitose at midships, then another. Black smoke pours from her hangar deck. Chitose begins listing immediately. Ozawa watches through binoculars from Zuikaku's bridge. The smaller carrier is mortally wounded. Anyone can see it. She's taking water, losing power, her crew abandoning topside positions as flames spread. 13:30 hours. Chitose capsizes and sinks. 900 men in the water. Destroyers Hatsuzuki and Shimozuki move to recover survivors, but the American aircraft circle like sharks. They strafe anything that moves. The second strike arrives 30 minutes later, larger than the first, perhaps 60 aircraft. They ignore the crippled Chiyoda and concentrate on the heavy units. Helldivers roll into dives on the battleships Issei and Hyuga. Both hybrid carriers maneuver violently, their anti-aircraft batteries creating a steel curtain of exploding shells. Zuikaku takes her first hits at 14:15 hours. 2 bombs. Port side, aft of the island. The deck plates buckle. Secondary explosions ripple through the hangar spaces. Damage control teams rush aft, but Ozawa already knows. He's felt bombs hit carriers before. Shokaku took how many during their battles together? 4 at Santa Cruz? More at Philippine Sea? He knows the sound of a dying ship. But Zuikaku doesn't die. Not yet. Her engineers contain the fires. The pumps manage the flooding. She maintains speed, maintains formation. She's taken worse before and survived. Coral Sea, Eastern Solomons, Santa Cruz. Each time she came home bleeding, but afloat. The radio brings news from the south. Confused reports. Kurita's battleships have reached San Bernardino Strait. They've engaged American escort carriers off Samar. The plan is working. Ozawa checks his watch. 14:30 hours. How long can he keep Halsey focused north? How many more strikes before Kurita completes the mission? 1500 hours. The third wave. The Americans aren't stopping. Task Force 38 is launching everything they have. 4 separate carrier groups, hundreds of aircraft. The sky fills with diving planes until individual aircraft blur together. Chiyoda takes 4 bombs in rapid succession. She loses power, dead in the water, her escorts unable to save her. Destroyer Hatsuzuki stands by taking aboard survivors, while American fighters strafe both ships. Captain Joe Ichiro refuses to abandon his carrier. He goes down with Chiyoda an hour later. The cruiser Tama takes a torpedo, then another. She begins settling by the bow, her destroyer escort forming up around her. Too many cripples, too few escorts to protect them all. Zuikaku maneuvers hard to starboard as a squadron of Avengers drops torpedoes. White wakes streak through the dark water. The crew braces. One torpedo passes astern, another ahead. The third track runs true. Impact. Starboard side, frame 120. The explosion lifts men off their feet throughout the ship. Ozawa grabs the chart table to steady himself. Damage reports flood the bridge. Flooding in the starboard engine rooms. 5 meters list to starboard. Speed dropping to 18 knots. Still, she fights. Her anti-aircraft batteries never stop. The crew doesn't abandon their positions. This is Zuikaku. She survived Pearl Harbor, Indian Ocean, Coral Sea, Eastern Solomons, Santa Cruz. She doesn't die easily. 1545 hours. Fourth wave inbound. Ozawa can see them approaching, a solid mass of aircraft, darker than the afternoon sky. Over 100 planes. He counts them reflexively, then stops. The number doesn't matter. There are too many. There have always been too many. The fourth wave hits like a typhoon. Bombs and torpedoes from every direction. The Americans have dropped all pretense of coordination. They simply attack, wave after wave of individual aircraft pressing home runs through the anti-aircraft fire. Zuikaku takes 2 more torpedoes within 5 minutes, port side, compensating for the starboard list. The helmsman fights to keep her bow into the wind. She's barely making 10 knots now. Her flight deck is wrecked, cratered by bomb hits. Small fires burn uncontrolled where damage control parties can't reach. At 1558 hours, a bomb penetrates the forward elevator. It detonates in the upper hangar deck. The explosion travels through 3 levels, erupting out the side of the hull. Men are blown overboard. Others, trapped below, have no chance. Ozawa orders all remaining aircraft to land on the other carriers. Zuikaku can't recover planes anymore. It can't even launch. There are only 29 aircraft left anyway. He watches them circle once, dipping wings in salute, then fly south towards Zuiho. Another torpedo. Frame 90, port side. The list increases to 25 degrees. Walking becomes difficult. Equipment begins sliding across the deck. The list is too much. The counterflooding can't compensate anymore. Captain Kaizuka Takeo, Zuikaku's commanding officer since July, climbs to the bridge. He's been below coordinating damage control. His uniform is scorched, face blackened by smoke.
"Admiral," he says quietly, "we're losing the starboard engine room. Flooding is spreading to the central boiler rooms. If we lose power completely..." He doesn't finish. They both know. Dead in the water means more torpedoes, more bombs, until nothing remains but wreckage. Ozawa nods. Transfer my flag to Oyodo." The flag transfer happens quickly. Ozawa's staff gathers charts, codebooks, essential documents. The cipher machines are prepared for destruction. Nothing of intelligence value will fall into American hands. The staff officers move efficiently, professionally, even as the deck beneath them tilts further to port. Ozawa pauses at the bridge door. Captain Kaizuka stands at his post, hands gripping the console to maintain balance. Around them, the bridge crew continues working, plotting positions, monitoring damage reports, doing their duty even as their ship dies. "She was a fine ship," Ozawa says. Kaizuka meets his eyes. "The finest, Admiral." 1340 hours. Ozawa transfers by destroyer to the cruiser Oyodo. From her deck, he watches Zuikaku continue fighting. Her anti-aircraft guns still fire, the crew still mans their stations, even listing 30 degrees, engines failing, she doesn't surrender. The Americans come again at 1350 hours. The fifth major strike. The crews must be exhausted, flying sortie after sortie, but they don't stop. Another torpedo hits Zuikaku amidships, then another, the seventh torpedo, then 4 more bombs in rapid succession, 9 bombs total. At 1358 hours, Captain Kaizuka gives the order, "Abandon ship." The crew emerges from below. They climb to the flight deck, now angled so steeply that walking is nearly impossible. They gather at the high starboard side, hundreds of men, what remains of Zuikaku's complement. Many are wounded, all are exhausted. They fought for 3 hours straight, kept their ship alive against impossible odds. Someone produces the naval ensign. They lower it ceremonially, folding it with careful precision despite the tilting deck. Then, together, the crew faces forward, toward Tokyo, toward home. "Tenno Heika Banzai!" The cheer rolls across the water. 3 times they call it. "Long live the Emperor! Long live the Empire!" The words hang in the air, defiant even in defeat. Then they abandon ship. Officers and enlisted men together, jumping from the tilting deck into the Philippine Sea. The destroyers Wakatsuki and Kuwa move close, their crews throwing lines, hauling men aboard despite American aircraft still circling overhead. Captain Kaizuka remains. His post is on the bridge. His duty is to his ship. He stands at attention as Zuikaku's list reaches 45 degrees. The water is at her flight deck edge now, lapping at the island structure. Her propellers are still, silent for the first time since 1941. She rolls stern first. The bow rises, flight deck vertical, pointing at the sky. Water pours through every opening, dragging her down. In seconds, she's gone. A spreading oil slick, debris, and 842 men who didn't escape mark where she vanished. From Oyodo's deck, Ozawa watches the bubbles rising. The last carrier from Pearl Harbor, the last of Kido Butai's magnificent 6. She'd outlived them all. Akagi, Kaga, Hiryu, Soryu, Shokaku. Fought longer, survived more battles, carried the Empire's naval aviation hopes further than anyone imagined possible. And in the end, she did her duty. Halsey's carriers are here, chasing Ozawa north, exactly as planned. Far from Leyte Gulf, far from where Kurita's battleships should be breaking through the American defenses. The mission is complete. The decoy has been sunk. The sacrifice made. Ozawa turns away from the empty sea. There are still 2 carriers afloat, Zuiho and the damaged hybrid battleships. Still more aircraft to face, still more American steel diving from the sky. The battle continues, but the last warrior of Pearl Harbor fights no more. The destroyers Wakatsuki and Kuwa rescued 862 survivors from Zuikaku's crew. They would carry themselves away from the killing ground off Cape Engano. Most would survive to see Japan again. Most would live to remember the ship that carried them through 4 years of war. Captain Kaisuke Takeo was not among them. He went down with Zuikaku, joining the 842 men the destroyers couldn't save. His body was never recovered. The ship he commanded for his final 4 months became his tomb, settling into the deep Philippine Sea at coordinates 19 degrees 20 minutes north, 125 degrees 51 minutes east. Zuikaku's name means auspicious crane. She was laid down May 25, 1938, launched November 27, 1939, commissioned September 25, 1941, sunk October 25, 1944. She served 3 years and 1 month. In that time, she participated in more major battles than any other Japanese carrier. Her aircraft helped sink the carriers USS Lexington and USS Hornet. She damaged countless other ships. Her crew fought with skill and courage from the beginning to end.